This is question number 21 on the June 2013 non-calculator paper. First of all, reading the question. The question says the table shows information about the heights of 60 students. Okay, so first of all, given that we know that there's 60 students, right, that's important to know. Here is a table, and the question says, on the grid opposite, draw a cumulative frequency graph to show the information on the table. Now, if we need to draw a cumulative frequency graph, and the grid is on the other side, right, this is all the information we have. One of the things that we need to find is the cumulative frequency. I'm just going to put CF for that. Now, the cumulative frequency, we need to add up the values that are there. Now, just thinking about that, because I know that there's 60 students, these number of students add up to 60. If we go through the cumulative frequency, how many students are there who have a height of less than 150? There are 4 of them. How many altogether have a height of less than 160? It's this 5 and that 4, which makes 9. How many have a height of less than 170? It's all 3 of those, which adds up to 25. How many have a height of less than 180? It's all 4 of those, which adds up to 52. How many have a height of less than 190? It's all of those, which adds up to 57. And finally, altogether, all of them. And again, 57 add 3 gives me 60. And again, because I'm getting 60, I know that's correct. Now, I'm not done yet. What I need to do is go off and plot on the cumulative frequency graph the heights, the upper ends of the heights, against the cumulative frequency values that I've just written down here. So these are the things that I need to plot, and it's important that you plot the top end. So just going off to the graph, this is the cumulative frequency graph that you've been provided and that you're required to plot the cumulative frequency graph on. And just to remind you, right, this is the table that we just completed, and we're going to plot these, the upper end values, so 150 against 4, that's the first value we would plot, 160 against 9, and so on. So going through that, and I'm going to use a pencil, but before I start that, let's just look at the scale. On this, it goes from 0 to 10, that means the 10 tiny squares in here, every single one stands for 1 unit, and the same from here to here, yeah, 140 to 150, every tiny square stands for 1 unit. Okay, so let's look at the plotting of the points. The first one is 150 and 4, so that takes us to that point there. 160 and 9, that takes us to that particular point there. 170 and 25, now 170 and then 25 takes us up to there. 180 and 52, so that shoots all the way up to 52. 190 goes all the way up to 57. 57 is there. And finally, 200 goes all the way up to 60. And that's my last point. Okay, and that's the general shape of a cumulative frequency graph. What I'm going to do now is to just draw the curve. Now, I think it's really important to turn the paper around and to make sure you actually use the curve. It's almost like an art lesson. I do it lightly first. What you need to avoid is drawing double lines and a line that's too thick. you will lose marks for that. But that is an adequate cumulative frequency graph, and it's in the typical shape of a cumulative frequency graph as well. So for that, let's see, the mark allocation for that is 3 marks, which is pretty much. You'll get marks for completing the cumulative frequency values in the table here, and you'll get marks for accurately plotting all the points. Now the next part of the question says, find an estimate for the median and for the interquartile range. So if you're at all familiar with cumulative frequency graphs, you should know exactly what to do. The median is the halfway up point, but the interquartile range is the upper quartile, take away the lower quartile. So I'll do the median first, and then we'll find the upper and lower quartiles. I'm just zooming in this a bit more. So finding the median value is halfway up. So given that we go all the way up to 60, right, halfway up would be 30, and so to work out the median, I'm going to go across from there and then down. And I'm getting 171. That particular value is the median. So my median value is 171. Okay, and that comes straight from the graph. I'll get marks for writing that number answer there, but I'll also get marks for actually drawing these lines, and it's really important that you do that. I need to now find the interquartile range. Now the interquartile range is the upper quartile take away the lower quartile. To work out the upper quartile, I need to go 3/4 of the way, but given that I know that this is halfway between 30 and 60 will give me where I need to start off to find the upper quartile, and that's 3/4 of the way along. So that's 45, and from there I need to go across and then down as I did before. And that's going to be the upper quartile. The upper quartile. And in this case, the upper quartile is what? 176. I need to now find the lower quartile, and I'll leave this here because the lower quartile is 1/4 of the way along. That's halfway between 30 and 0, and that's going to be 15. And I'm doing the same as I've done before. I'm going directly across and then down. So go across to there, then down, and I can see what that value is. That is going to be the lower quartile, and that's 165. Now 165 is the lower quartile. At this stage, what I'm just going to do is, remember I wrote down interquartile range is the upper quartile take away the lower quartile. The upper quartile is 176. Take away the lower quartile, which is 165. 176 take away 165. It's going to be what? 5 add 6 is 11. So the interquartile range is 11. Now, this is a heavy marked question. There's 6 marks altogether for this. There's quite a lot here. You need to make sure you can plot the cumulative frequency graph. Very popular this is. And this particular question just simply asks the median and interquartile range. And again, you should be able to do this and be able to secure full marks in it.